Hello to all my friends and family, and welcome to Jim's 5 a.m. Club. And I'm down here at Lady Macquarie's chair on this cloudy Saturday afternoon. I just finished work and thought I'd just get on my bike and come past here and do a 5 a.m. club. I want to do a bit of a walk and talk and enjoy this beautiful location. Even though it's overcast, the grey on grey, and the opera house there just look absolutely majestic. And if I pan around to the left, you'll see the cityscape as well. And it's one of those solemn days. Don't know if you noticed, but if you look up there on the harbour bridge, you'll see that the flags are at half-mast. It is the day of the funeral of Prince Philip, and the masts and flags do express the sympathies that all of Australia express for this sad day where we lose a statesman who lived 99 years, almost 100 years. So there you go. May we take his years, and may we be as successful and make an impact as great as Prince Philip made on the world. Anyway, let's go on a walk and talk. I don't know whether or not we can get very far along this path, but I want to do a book summary today, and it's an interesting, awesome sort of book entitled Linchpin by Seth Godin. Seth Godin is one of those authors who is renowned for his material and his clear communication and his magical touch when it comes to communication. So as you can tell, Linchpin is all about the impact that people have on the world, and I thought it would be good to dedicate this book summary to Prince Philip, because in many ways Prince Philip was a linchpin of his generation and someone who will be sorely missed. And I'm not sure if there are going to be too many people who are going to be able to step up and fill his position and take his shoes. But one of the themes from this book, from Seth Godin, is that if you're transferring your passion to your work, it's far easier than finding a job that happens to match your passion. And that's the sort of thing that Prince Philip, the Duke of Edinburgh, was able to express. He was able to take his passion and to shape it, and regardless of whether or not he was a king or a prince, or whether or not he walked in front or behind, he was able to make a difference in his way, and be the figurehead for a number, and the what do you call it? I've lost the words there. It'll come to me later on. But he was able to head up a number of charities and organisations and make a difference. So let's continue our panning, and I'll just start walking down here and see if we can get through these gates. We could be lucky. But this book is all about learning how to become indispensable, to becoming a linchpin amongst your family, amongst your organisation, your team, your work, or wherever you engage yourself. And it's important to make a major contribution, and to be the energy and to be the magic glue that brings together good people and holds together great achievements. So how do we become a linchpin? One thing that we all need to embrace and to appreciate in order to become indispensable and to become one of those people who seems to make magic happen is that we need to give our work all that we have got and not to hold back, not to not to give 50% or 40% or 80%, but to give it the full 100% as much as you can so that you become effective in what you do rather than just being a soft cock and just being efficient and just ticking the box to say that I've done it. It's all about doing it to the best of your ability and making a big change and contributing to whatever you do and making sure that whatever you touch, whatever you work with, that it is a success as much as it can be. So the linchpin. A linchpin is someone who is much, much better than the average Joe or the average player, and they're able to make a massive difference. And we see linchpins in sport, we see linchpins in organisations, and they're the sort of people that have the ability, have the Midas touch to whatever they get involved with, to lift it and make it much better than what most other people could make it. So linchpins stand out for one good reason, in that they don't need instructions. They don't need to be told what to do. They may need some guidance up front in terms of this is the outcome that we're looking to achieve, but they don't need instructions, they don't need to be told what to do, and they don't need to be managed in any way, shape or form. And they always guarantee to not only deliver, but to over-deliver. As you can see, I'm just coming here to the set of La Traviata, an opera which is happening down here from the 26th of March to the 25th of April. So we're coming close to the end of it, but it's a big set, and unfortunately this is the place where we had an accident a week ago or so, where Carla Zambatti unfortunately tripped, fell, hit her head and was not able to recover. But it's quite nice down here. They've done a wonderful job. I can imagine, I've never been to one of these operas set down here on Sydney Harbour, and as you can see, you've got the backdrop of the Opera House and the Harbour Bridge. It won't be a great place to be for training, but if the weather holds out, you couldn't pick a better place in the world to enjoy La Traviata. Yeah, well, let's get back to our book summary on linchpins. And linchpins, as we said before, are people who don't need instructions, they over-deliver. And people, teams, organisations need to do whatever they can to hold on to them, because they're scared of losing them, because they know that if they lose the linchpin, it's really, really hard to have somebody else step up and do the work that they do. Linchpins are people who are CEOs, who are chairmen, who are, pivotal players within their teams, captains, coaches. They come in different forms, but they're the people who make a difference, make a massive difference. So what else can we learn about linchpins? I guess one of the other points here is that a linchpin becomes who they are because they make a conscious choice to act in spite of their fears. Now, we all have fears, we all have reservations, we all have challenges in our lives, but linchpins are the ones who are not held back and are not challenged by those fears. in a negative way, but they're challenged in a positive way, where they act, as we said, in spite of their fears and are not worried in any way by the fears. Because one of the challenges that we all face, this is an interesting one, is that most people in the world, and it's also a cultural thing as well, most people, or many people, in organisations, in schools, in teams, you name it, wherever you look across your social circle, there are some people who are absolutely conditioned by their environment, and they're conditioned to follow instructions and rules, and they can't quite operate outside of that conditioning. So they can't operate unless they're safe, they're comfortable, and they're told what to do, and they know what their job is and what the outcome is going to be. But the linchpin is not that sort of person. They don't wait to be told. They don't expect to know clearly what they're trying to achieve, but they can feel their way through it, and they just continue inching their way, getting their way. They can visualize it, and they try to actualize it. The big difference between being told what to do and actualizing it using your own steam, your own energy, and your own intuition. So what we're saying here is that that a linchpin accepts fear, but consciously acts anyway. They don't sit back, they don't wait, they don't worry. They don't have that, ditapio cosmos, or what's going to happen if I do this and it doesn't work out how I expect it to work out. It's a big point to understand, that we need to understand and to accept that. They need to accept that that fear is a constant sort of thing that happens, and we just need to act anyway. So what is the thing that drives the linchpin? The thing that drives the linchpin is that they want to give, and don't expect anything for it. One of the key operatives for a linchpin is that you need to be generous. You need to have a generous spirit. But being generous, you need to know that by being generous, you also make people suspicious. There's a cultural thing. How often do you try and be generous to people around you, and yet they see you with suspicion? But I know that part of my Greek culture is to naturally be generous, to be giving of your time, of your money, of your kefi to friends and family and everybody around you. So how do we get around this? I know that there are other cultures that are very, very suspicious of gift giving. They don't like giving gifts, they don't like receiving gifts, and they're quite cold and dry when it comes to those cultural elements. So how do we get around it? How do we work with this? The way we work it is that we need to be generous, but we need to be genuine in giving of gifts, and you need to learn how to give a gift with a good intention and have a zero expectation in return. So if you take this into consideration and you incorporate it in your style, being generous, giving gifts which are genuine, giving with a good intention, and having zero expectation is the winner, is the absolute winner. Got a seaplane going over the top there. So here we have the outside drinking, eating area, the bar area here at the opera on the harbour. And as you can see, on a beautiful night. Wednesday night would have been an absolute cracker. Not sure what the weather's going to be tonight, but on a beautiful night, it would be quite spectacular down here. And what I'll try and do is probably not this year, but if I do have health and the ability next year, what I'll do is I'll organise tickets to next year's opera down by the harbour, and hopefully maintain our feet and not trip over and smack our head like the late Carla Zampatti. So the final point to come out of this book is not to expect anything from your generosity, and to know that the universe will reward you multiple times, tenfold. So I guess that's it. So thank you very much for joining me on Jim's 5am Club. I think I'll head back to the car. And thank you for joining me on this episode of Jim's 5am Club, where we just went through and did a book summary entitled Linchpin by Seth Godin. So let's finish off with a positive affirmation. I'm alive, I am well, and I feel absolutely great. To my friends and family, stay committed, stay connected, stay relevant, and most importantly, let's take some lessons. Let's take some lessons from this wonderful book and learn, A, to identify, acknowledge, and respect the linchpins in our lives, in our communities, and to also support and help other people to become linchpins, to become leaders in their field, leaders in their families, leaders in their organisations, and leaders in themselves, so that they can make the most of their time in this world and enjoy the gifts of their freedoms. So thank you once again, and I think I'll call it a day from this location here in Lady Macquarie's chair, where we've seen the scene of La Traviata with the beautiful backdrop of the Opera House and the Harbour Bridge, and there's a number of pontoons out there, so I think those pontoons could be fireworks or could be lighting, not sure, but we'll try and get here next year. Anyway, take care, and we'll chat again from this wonderful location. And as you can see, even though the rest of the world is closed for business due to COVID-19, Sydney is open, free, and raring to go. The economy is on fire, the share market's on fire, everything is looking positive. We just need to make sure that hopefully we can get some vaccinations happening. There's a bit of doubt circulating about the rollout and the timings of the completion of the rollout, but hopefully we can get to that magical 70% so that we can open up the borders and start connecting with the rest of the world, and enabling us to once again become what's the word I'm looking for? Become connected to the world and start living our normal as it once was, and to hopefully have a better life than the one we once had. Take care, yasas, and we'll talk again soon. Bye for now.